victim rush meta is what is plaguing Texas Chainsaw Massacre right now. It's what I do as victim, it's what you do as victim, it's what everyone does as victim. No one wants to play stealthily. They're buffing stealth apparently in the next update. They won't tell us what it's all about yet. Maybe not the next update, but 2 updates from now. Maybe 3. You're gonna try to incentivize stealth a little bit more. But right now, basically the victim rush meta is just spamming the interact button at the beginning, breaking any restraints, and rushing for a door. I've seen it multiple times. Sometimes you can spawn as Hitchhiker on Family House. You would like just spawn, right? Grandpa's already awake. He woke up during the cutscene of you spawning in. But you instantly, so you start at the front of the family house, right? That's where Hitchhiker spawns. You walk to the window, you trap it, and you walk into the front door, you open it, and victims are up rushing you at the front door like that quickly. 15 seconds or less. They are out, they're rushing you. People are diving out the window. You can get stun locked in the door by Leland, and then other people are out. I saw it happen on Rapid Main stream. It has happened to me once as well. And just that being possible in the game is crazy to me. I don't even think Leatherface killing you in 30 seconds should be in the game. I was posting about that earlier on as well after I got that achievement. I think a lot of stuff that just ends games instantly is really stupid. But yeah, so the way they do that is they get a Connie. She spams E on the lockpick at the beginning, presses E on the door once, runs up, and yeah, by the time Hitchhiker's opening the front door. And now imagine if you had to set up a trap on the generator too. That'd give them even more time. They don't even need to spawn right there. But yeah, within 15 seconds out of the basement, out of the family house is nuts. That's not the only thing that's getting rushed. Just all the maps in general are getting rushed. That's just an extreme example. That still can happen. But recently, in the most recent update, they've slowed down the game apparently a little bit by making the restraint minigame a little harder, a little less spams of the E button. But I don't notice a single second. I'm gonna be completely honest. Maybe people that play victim even more than me have noticed. I don't notice a single thing that's different. That's just me though. I don't know. Let me know down below if you notice anything. But yeah, that's the first thing I was excited to test. I was like, I really hope they fix the rush meta. I was out, so nothing happened. Anyways, they do gotta fix the rush meta. It's one of the main complaints about that everyone has been complaining about in the community since the beginning of the game, since honestly, actually, yeah, since the tech test. I wrote an email to the devs in the tech test giving a whole list of feedback. I can show that email. Maybe, I don't know. One of the first things I mentioned in it is the rush meta and how rushing is way better than stealth. I literally mentioned that in the email from the tech test, and it's still in the game. It's still a thing. And it is, yeah, definitely the #1 complaint I've seen on Reddit, on Twitter, across everywhere. There are a lot of other issues with the game, but not any that we really need to like nerf people or buff people or sides. We just need to slow it down a bit and add quality of life features that just make the game's feedback, its hit feedback, its hitboxes, iframes, all that stuff feel better. There are too many things that just feel off about the game that are just janky, that need fixing. And quality of life improvements such as letting perk descriptions show what stacks, such as not having to respec your full skill tree, but like just clicking off of nodes so that you can go back and randomize things a bit more. The whole skill tree doesn't need to be unlocked or anything. I was right in my video from way back when the game first came out. Branches are blocked off so that you can't combine certain perks. So it makes sense the way it is. The problem with it is the respecking and the random nodes. Anyways, that's a rant for a different video. There are problems with the game, but none that we have to like buff or nerf certain sides is what I'm saying. So my changes I've compiled here today to fix the rush meta won't necessarily be nerfs for victims. It'll just be changes for the game overall. You don't need to nerf victims to nerf the rush meta. You can just buff and nerf at the same time, change it up a bit, and everyone will be happy. So here are my ideas. I've posted some of these on Reddit before and a lot of people agreed with them. Either way, a lot of people that post like their own changes for games don't really think about how it would balance the game. They just kind of add ideas, but they don't think about how it would change the other side. So I'm thinking about both sides here. I'm gonna have nerfs and buffs on both to just make it equal, make it a change. So yeah, everything besides this first thing that I'm gonna say, it's just gonna be a change overall. The first thing is just a direct nerf, but it can be prevented at the same time. So going forward, every idea that I have that could be an option for them to fix the rush meta, because there's gonna be multiple different options that they can go with. Each one is going to have this first thing that I say in it, okay? Overall, over the entire game, I think this should just be coming out with an update or something. Victims who spam E out of their restraints at the beginning should take some damage on the way down. So if you completely stealth out of it, 0 damage. You're free to go. You're all good. You played slow enough on the restraint minigame to where you don't deserve any damage, and you didn't wake up Grandpa either. Very nice. Also, quality of life change. They gotta have a Grandpa noise meter, please. Let people know how much noise they're making so that you know when Grandpa's gonna wake up. There we go. But yeah, that would slow the game down just a little bit at the beginning, but like enough to make a pretty big difference. Victims can still rush. They can still spam E if they want and break out of the restraints super quickly. The only thing is they're gonna take a little fall damage on the way down from the restraints. They'll chip down to 80%, 90% health, I don't know. Just a little bit. Because you do, when you come down from the restraints upside down, you do slam your head in the ground. It would only make sense. Maybe if you do it stealthily, there's a new animation, but that would be maybe too much. I want the changes to be easy for the devs to implement, just number changes. They don't need to add new animations or anything. But yeah, stealthily doing it, 100% health still, perfectly fine as the game is right now. Spamming out of it, you take damage on the way down. Boom. That's a little bit to fix the rushing. Also, along with this passive that victims have that again should just come in an update should come where the 2 family members that are upstairs spawn in at the same time as the victims. I don't see why not. It's not like they can get down to the basement anyways right then and there. It would just help speed up the game a bit for the family, not even slow down the game for victims. It would just speed it up for the family upstairs so that they can get their setups happening. The game pace would be the same. They'll just get the setups quicker. They'll get the blood fed to Grandpa quicker. I don't see why they have to spawn in 15 to 20 seconds after the victims. So both those changes, one for victim side, one for the family side, should come to slow down the game at the beginning. And that goes forward for everything else I'm about to say. And who knows, maybe that's enough. For these next things, I think it would really help. So idea number 1, this one was a bit controversial on Reddit, but a lot of people that read it correctly actually agreed with it, because honestly it can overhaul kind of buff victims. So I think people liked this idea more. Basically, at the beginning of the game, no matter what, victims take damage when they break out of the restraints. Or not even when they break out, just when they spawn in. They're at 80% health or whatever the devs decide the number will be. So right when you spawn in, 80% health, 90% health, whatever you're at. And then if you spam out, you take extra damage. If you stealth out, you're perfectly fine. 4 extra bottles are gonna spawn on the map, health bottles. If they really want to slow it down more, they'll make a bottle glow across the basement, and that's the one that you're after to heal yourself. So you have to kind of run across the basement to get it to heal. Or it could just be 4 extra bottles are in the basement in general. Find them and heal yourself at the beginning. It also just makes sense canonically, like with the game. You are a victim, you were kidnapped, you're hung upside down, you're probably pretty badly injured at that point. Why not start the game injured? It kind of just makes sense. And on the upside, 4 extra bottles are down there to heal with. You can still rush out if you want. You'll just be at like 70, 60% health if you completely spammed out and you already have your missing health from the beginning of the game. So you'll be down a bit, but you can still rush out. You can grab a bottle upstairs, grab 2 of them, heal up, and you have 4 extra bottles down there still. So whenever you drop down a well, you'll still have a lot of bottles in the basement to heal with. So it could overall end up buffing victims in that way, but this first idea I think is still pretty good. I think it makes sense. I think having a different objective at the beginning, like going to find a health bottle instead of instantly going to a lockpick to spam it and then going to a door, you have a third objective. Go for a health bottle, but it's optional. So that was my first idea. Second idea, instead of the first one that they could add, is incentivizing stealth more. So making it so that basically, if you end up waking Grandpa up at the beginning of the match, not by opening a basement door, by just making too much noise, which happens almost every single game. So this would definitely slow that down a lot. Instead of Grandpa just waking up, roaring one time and being at level 0, it'll enhance him to level 1. Now this change would be very overpowered, I think. A lot of people don't think that way. A lot of people just don't see Grandpa as being OP. But if you think about it, all you have to do is feed him 500 blood and he's level 5. You get wall hacks on the family side. So you got to be very careful with balancing Grandpa in this game. And I think the devs know that. And honestly, he is weak because of all the animations you have to go through to feed Grandpa, and the ways that they can stop him right now with a Grandpa stab, which maybe Scott June and me have encouraged from back in the tech test. Yeah, they're going to be nerfing the agitator perk or whatever it's called in the next update, so that should be good. They're going to make it so that you can't get Grandpa down 4 tiers with 1 stab. So Grandpa overall is already getting a buff. Again, back to this might be too OP if they wake up Grandpa early and he gets to tier 1, because that's 100 blood worth straight to Grandpa. If they implement this, they might have to make it so that at the beginning of the game, blood bags are 70% filled and they're dripping and slowly filling up, because the blood bags do that if they're grabbed. They could make them just start at 50% filled, 75% filled, so that you don't get your full amount from them. I don't know how much that would affect the family side. And again, that might just end up buffing victims overall if they play stealthily at the beginning. The family gets no blood. Akani could still rush the door and open it, and then they won't have to worry about grandpa waking up, and then like it can completely ruin the game. So while this idea is well thought out, it's too well thought out with balancing on both sides to where it could end up just completely buffing victims overall. I'm thinking more of the victims here because I know victims are going to hate slowing down the rush meta. So I'm really trying to give my ideas a lot of potential for the victims. But who knows, thinking too much of them when the problem is the victims rushing. Maybe the devs are going to have to lean a little more harsher towards them and just slow it down while keeping the family mostly the same at the beginning. Because idea number 1 had 4 extra health bottles for them, but they're probably going to want to use them at the beginning, but they don't have to. And idea number 2 is like, it could be very, very bad if they end up going with the route of blood bags not being full at the beginning of the match. Maybe that incentivizes stealth too much, and then it's just the stealth meta after that instead of a mix of both. I don't know, idea number 2 is kind of too risky, but that could be a thing. But yeah, I should have named it idea 2 and 2.5 because those are 2 different ideas. One is just if they make too much noise, grandpa goes up to level 1, but then the family is very OP, kind of. Idea number 2.5 is that also blood bags at the beginning for the family are nerfed a bit. One is so victim-sided if they play correctly, and one is so family-sided if victims play incorrectly, so I guess that one is kind of the better option. I don't think the game is going to get these in any way, but it's always fun to come up with your own balance changes and feedback that the devs can use. Idea number 3, this is a simple one, very, very simple. Basement doors take 2 to 3 lockpicks to open at the beginning. Just the first one. Once the first one's unlocked, the rest will take 1 lockpick. I think 2 lockpicks would do just fine, I guess. I don't know how much slower that would slow down the game. And again, all these ideas still have the number 1 thing on top, which is, or not even number 1, but the number 0, whatever I named it. The thing where if they spam too fast out of restraints, they'll take a little bit of damage. Not with the extra health bottles, just so people aren't confused. That's just the passive overall. That should just come in a balance change because I think that just makes sense. What would you guys say to the first basement door starting with 2 lockpicks needed to break it? And how much do you really think that would slow down the game, since people can still spam lockpicks pretty quickly? I think it would slow it down enough. But yeah, I just wanted to make this quick video. Those are my 3.5 changes basically to fixing the rush problem in this game. There are a lot more things they could do. They probably won't do any of this, and they'll probably do their own thing. But at least for those 2 passives that I've talked about that go corresponding with every single idea here, 2 passives of the family that's upstairs starting at the same time as the victim so they can set up, prepare for the rush. And victims in general, if they spam out of their restraints at the beginning, they take a little bit of damage. And if they don't spam out, if they stealth out, perfectly fine, 100% health. I feel like that would really help slowing down the game. They wouldn't make Leatherface too dangerous at the beginning because again, you spawn most of the time at least in a room that has a lock on it. There's a billion gaps down there, Leatherface barricades. So yeah, if none of those ideas get implemented, at least please, devs, those 2 passives would be amazing. They aren't even passives, they're seriously just quality of life to the game. Especially the family one where they just start on time so that they can actually prepare for the rush. Because you know it's coming. Until it's fixed, at least we can have that. It also just doesn't make sense that they have to watch Leatherface cut up someone at the beginning every single time. It always makes me think I'm playing Leatherface, but I'm not. And then I see like Hitchhiker swinging or Sissy swinging up there. It's like, I don't know. It's just weird. The cutscene at the beginning is very strange. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down below on these changes. Which one is your favorite? Which one would you like to see implemented? As well as the 2 passives at the beginning. Let me know your thoughts on those. Do you think the rush meta would be fixed just with the passives alone, or would it have to be idea 1, 2, 2.5, or 3? Let me know down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video of TXChainsaw Massacre very, very soon.